Oh yes! Oh hi! We're talking about the Dark Knight Trilogy today. Let's get started. Just put my headphones in here. There. The Dark Knight Trilogy was directed by Christopher Nolan and primarily stars Christian Bale, Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman, and is the story of Batman, or Bruce Wayne, a boy who lost his parents at a very early age to a horrifying murder, and because of their murder, Bruce Wayne dedicates his life to fighting injustice and stopping criminals. And this is a darker, more gritty retelling of the Batman tale that I absolutely love. I adore this series. It has its issues, but overall, as a complete story, it's very, very good and very fulfilling. Apart from the individual villains of each movie that I'll talk about soon, most of the positives and negatives I have with the trilogy all coincide with each of the three films, which is why I decided to do this review in a trilogy format rather than taking each individual film for its merits. I'm going to start with the acting all around. The acting is phenomenal. Christian Bale is a brilliant Batman and a very good Bruce Wayne. He plays that character so well and so convincingly. It goes without saying that Heath Ledger as the Joker is one of the best villains ever. He did such an amazing job at playing this mastermind who's still insane yet knows what he's doing. And he's so, he's the right mixture of creepy and irreverent and cocky and just funny. He's funny in a dark way and he's insane.
All it takes is a little push.
The late Heath Ledger won an Oscar for this role, and it's well deserved. Obviously, Michael Caine, as always, is wonderful, and especially here as Alfred. It harkened back to his Muppet Christmas Carol days when he played Scrooge, It was so heartwarming to see an Alfred that truly cared for Bruce Wayne and truly helped him become Batman and helped him stay as Batman, especially in The Dark Knight when he tells Batman to endure.
What would you have me do?
Endure, Master Wayne. Take it. They'll hate you for it, but that's the point of Batman.
Which is such a good piece of advice for someone like Batman. And Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox was perfect casting. The silky smooth voice is obviously there, and he played the role with such confidence. You couldn't imagine anyone else but him playing that character. All of the action as well throughout the trilogy is shot very well. In Batman Begins, I have some issues with the shakiness of some of the fight scenes, especially in the fight between Ra's al Ghul and Batman at the end, because I understand why Nolan chose the shaky cam for the initial scene with Batman, because it's told from the criminal's point of view and you're meant to be scared of him. But during the Ra's al Ghul fight, they're pretty much equals. So I feel like it would have benefited from being a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more stationary, a couple more wides, maybe would have made the film a little bit better in regards to action. There's lots of small editing mistakes throughout all of the films, but that's to be expected for any film, let alone a trilogy. There are some small CGI jerks that don't really take away from the story or anything, but they are there and they are noticeable. Apart from that, and maybe some differing aspect ratios in The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises that kind of took me off guard a little bit and took me out of the film, this is a brilliant trilogy that I absolutely love. The cinematography and music is some of the best parts of this entire trilogy. Everything looks perfect. Gotham is realised so well, and it looks slimy, it looks dirty, especially in Batman Begins, where you get to see a lot of the criminal underbelly, which I really enjoyed. And it's all shot and framed how you would imagine you would see it, which is absolutely wonderful. And the music is stellar. I love the music in this film. The new theme for Batman, you know, the din, 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 din. It's very good. In terms of the individual villains, they were all perfect for what the films were trying to convey. Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow in Batman Begins were wonderful in establishing the theme of fear throughout the film of Batman Begins. In The Dark Knight, the Joker and eventually Two-Face expertly show the theme of chaos. And in The Dark Knight Rises, Bane and eventually Talia al Ghul effectively show the theme of pain really well, and that's something that makes Nolan such a good director, and why I love the direction was because he made each film fit into a theme that we could all relate to. We're all scared of something. We've all felt chaos at some point in our life. We've all felt pain, which makes us relate to Batman that much more, and makes him such a good protagonist, and makes Nolan such a good director. I could talk about some of the individual scenes all day, like the brilliant introduction to the Joker in The Dark Knight, or Batman versus Bane in their first confrontation in The Dark Knight Rises, or Scarecrow in Batman Begins. There's so many memorable moments in each of these trilogies. I couldn't talk about them all forever.
He's here. Who? The Batman.
So I'm going to wrap up here and say that the Dark Knight trilogy is one of my favourite superhero trilogies of all time. Christopher Nolan created a masterwork here with only a few minor little tidbits that I think could have been done a little bit better. I'm going to grade the films individually. I'm going to give Batman Begins an A. I'm going to give The Dark Knight an A, and I'm going to give The Dark Knight Rises an A. And overall, I am going to give The Dark Knight trilogy an A. Let me know your opinions on The Dark Knight trilogy and whether you want to see more. I'll see you later.